All right, guys. Okay. All right. The Torah. The Torah is a Semitic name. The Greek expression, which in English gives us Pentateuch, okay, designates a work of 5 parts: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. These were to form the 5 primary elements of the collection of 39 volumes that makes up the Old Testament. This group of texts deals with the origins of the world up to the entry of the Jewish people into Canaan, the land promised to them after the exile in Egypt, more precisely until the death of Moses. The narration of these facts serves, however, as a general framework for a description of the provisions made for the religious and social life of the Jewish people, hence the name law or Torah. Oh, I didn't know that Torah meant law. Okay. Okay, let's see. All right, let's okay. You know, it really goes into a lot of detail. This about the prophetic books, the books of poetry and wisdom, and historical books. Okay, now we're going to get to the Old Testament and science findings. Few of the subjects dealt with in the Old Testament, and likewise the Gospels, give rise to a confrontation with the data of modern knowledge. Okay. As we have already seen in the preceding chapter, historical errors were found in the Bible, and we have quoted several of these pinpointed by Jewish and Christian experts. The latter have naturally had a tendency to minimize their importance. They find it quite natural for a sacred author to present historical fact in accordance with theology and to write history to suit certain needs. We shall see further on, in the case of the Gospel according to Matthew, the same liberties taken with reality and the same commentaries aimed at making admissible as reality what is in contradiction to it. A logical and objective mind cannot be content with this procedure. From a logical angle, I mean, this is why so many people, you know, who are experts in fields of science actually leave Christianity. Okay. No offense to the Christians or anything. But all right. Where was I? Okay. Okay, in Genesis 6:3, God decides just before the flood to limit man's lifespan to 120 years. His days shall be 120 years. Furthermore, however, we know in Genesis 11:10 to 32 that the 10 descendants of Noah had lifespans that ranged from 148 years to 600 years. Showing Noah's descendants down to Abraham. The contradiction between those two passages is quite obvious. The explanation is elementary. The first passage, Genesis 6:3, is a Yavist text and probably dating, as we have seen, in the 10th century BC. The second passage in Genesis 11:10 through 32 is a much more recent text, 6th century BC, from the sacerdotal version. This version is at the origin of these genealogies, which are as precise in the information as lifespans as they are improbable when taking en masse. It is in Genesis that we find the most evident incapabilities in modern science. And, ironically, it has the story of creation. And that's where you get a lot of people becoming, atheist and non-creationist, basically. Okay. All right, the creation of the world in its stages, the date of the creation of the world, and the date of man's appearance on the earth, and the description of the flood. Okay. The first description. Okay, let's see here. Sorry. All right, these are long videos, so bear with me here, people. Okay. The first description occupies the first chapter of the very first verse of the second chapter. It is a masterpiece of inaccuracy from a scientific point of view. It must be examined one paragraph at a time. The text reproduced here is from the Revised Standard Version of the Bible. Chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the face of the waters. It is quite possible to admit that before the creation of the earth, what was to become the universe as we know it was covered in darkness. To mention the existence of water at this period is, however, quite simply pure allegory. Okay, we shall see in the third part of this book how there is in every indication that at the initial stage of the formation of the universe, a gaseous mass existed. It is an error to place water in it. All right. Verse 3 to 5. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning one day. The light circulating in the universe is a result of complex reactions in the stars. We shall come back to them in the third part of this work. At this stage in the this stage in the creation, however, according to the Bible, the stars were not yet formed. Wow. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I keep losing my spot here. Hold on. Okay. The lights of the firmaments are not mentioned in Genesis until verse 14, when they were created on the fourth day, to separate the day from the night, to give light upon the earth, all of which is totally accurate. It is illogical, however, to mention the result light on the first day when the cause of the light was created 3 days later. Okay, the fact that the existence of evening and morning is placed on the first day is, moreover, purely allegory. The existence of evening and morning as elements of a single day is only conceivable after the creation of the earth and its rotation under the light of its own star, the sun.